Well, how about that for the entrance to this week's episode? Welcome in and welcome back, my friends, back into the Building Blutora series. And as you just witnessed, I have taken it upon myself to absolutely just go to town on that big terraforming project that was the southern side of the city of Goldcrest here in our greater overall project of renovating this entire city. This, of course, being the very first settlement that I ever built in this world, over 7 years ago now. But with that done and out of the way, that big, huge terraforming project, that allows us to spend the bulk of this episode working on something that I have been looking forward to quite a bit in terms of this project as a whole. And that has to do a lot with the dotted little pieces of sand that we have scattered all across the place, going every which way. And that is, of course, the planning of the roads. If you did not know, or if you don't remember, I've used sand here to kind of jot out a very basic outline of where I want the main roads to kind of branch out to in every direction, how I want them to come and interact with the city and everything. And this was a rough kind of draft from well over a year ago at this point, planning out these roads and whatnot. So we're going to add a little bit more to this. It's not just going to be these 3 roads right here, where one kind of goes into the city and then you have 2 going off in every direction. We'll probably have a couple more. I'm thinking we're going to have a road that connects to that side of the city. We'll kind of have it go through the valley over here. It'll probably eventually make its way either in a connection to that road, or it'll just kind of follow the mountains up into that direction. We'll have to see. But either way, there is a good amount of road additions that I think we can add. And once we have more of the roads planned out and marked as to where we want to bring them and what regions we want to kind of include within the limits of the city here, we're going to have a much better idea as to where we can start placing things like more buildings and some of the fields that I want to do, some of the crop fields, the agriculture, all of that kind of stuff that will really start to make this place expand quite significantly and really start to bring it to the next level overall. Something that will really bring it to the next level overall and take this project to the next stage. We're really going to start seeing it grow quite a bit from here. We're going to see it really evolve into something much better than what it started as when we came out here to start the renovation project. And with that, we are going to go grab some sand real quick, and we're going to come back and start planning out some of these roadways and figure out what we might want to do, how we might want to do it, and hopefully we can get something real good here. I might even use the map a little bit to work out some potential plans. I'll be right back with you guys once I have that ready. Alright, so I've got the map pulled up, a screenshot of the map that I can draw on right here. And this way, we can start to figure out a little bit better what kind of roadmap we might want for the city of Goldcrest. And as you can see, you can see the little brown lines right here from the inner city. These are the roads that we already kind of redid. We tore them out and rebuilt them completely with an entirely different style. And I think we might do a couple different kind of colors here using this golden color, and then maybe we could even mix in some of this lighter brown color as some kind of differences in determining or kind of showing, I guess, which roads are meant for which kind of purpose and all of that kind of stuff, right? So I'm thinking, just by looking at this real quick, kind of seeing this visual right here, the best spot for things like the farms and the agriculture and everything will probably be this region here, and I'll probably have to do a little bit of biome work, especially in this spot right here, because that is about as far as the world that it quick little patch up job I did took us. But I'm gonna try and experiment with maybe applying like biomes to the brush feature on World Edit or something. We'll have to see, but I might just bring it all the way up to the river here in terms of this foresty biomes to make sure that the grass is all kind of nice and even. And even down here, I think we can do some fields and some farms and all of that kind of stuff. Over here, let me get the marker here. Over here, it's a little more difficult because we've got all these weird hills and mini little cliff sides. There's a lot of elevation changes happening here. So I'm not sure that we'll be able to fit much of anything in terms of the farms and the fields and everything. We might just turn this more into a foresty kind of region. When we come through to build all of the custom trees around here, we're going to have a lot of them that are in the city, a lot of them that are kind of up here near the base of the mountains. We'll bring some out next to the fields and the farmhouses and everything, but we'll probably have some more along here where we're going to have a more concentrated region of farms in this area. We'll probably have more trees and more of a foresty feel in this area down here, and that'll probably be the best way to go about it. But in terms of the roads here, I'm thinking off the top of my head, we definitely want another road in this region here. We're probably going to bring one of our main or kind of lead-in roads, which is this mark of sand right here. I'm going to roughly trace it as it makes its way into the city and flows over here. This ends up connecting to this bridge that we've got to build, and then we've got one variation of it heading down south. That goes to the sister city of Bassator in the southern coast of the province of Maratea, in which we find ourselves. And then we have it connect right there to this city. These is kind of these are the main roads right here. These connect to other cities and bring you in to the whole of Goldcrest. And I'm thinking I want some more additions to this. So for one, we have this road that comes out of the north of the city, and I'm probably going to bring this road up here close to the mountains, and then we can kind of swoop it down. And what we might end up doing is having an offshoot of it, of a smaller variety, kind of go up to the north up here. We don't have really like a very main road that we need to do right there quite yet, but we might do like a secondary road or something if we come up with a good idea for it. And since we're going to have a lot of farms out here, I'm thinking what would probably make a lot of sense is to somewhere down here, maybe not right on that spot. I don't think it's that important to be like pinpoint accurate with where we're drawing it, but we could bring a road up along the river and then kind of slice it through the fields here. And this could be a road that brings us into the northern part of Goldcrest, kind of outlining a lot of the crop fields and everything, a lot of the farms and what have you, and really kind of brings this into the settlement of as a whole, the settlement of Goldcrest, that is. And from here, we'd probably want these to connect in a way just by looking at it until you realize that it does already kind of connect in the road right here. All you have to do is do that, and then you make this big circle. So, you know, we don't really need to do another line here. We'll probably have a bunch of secondary roads that go between the farms and everything. And speaking of those secondary roads, after adding that one main road addition, I know we're going to want a lot over here. The first thing that I have in mind is to take a secondary road from about here and kind of start dividing up this region quite a bit. We're going to bring this all the way down into there, and we'll probably even bring a bit of the road, kind of improvising this as we go, by the way. We could even connect it right here on this intersection, and that could be a good way to do, because we've got this big hill that kind of gets in the way of some of it, so that might not have any farms on it, and then all of a sudden we've split this up pretty evenly. that whole region. Another secondary road that I think we're going to want to do is bring a road from maybe the temple right here through this region. We might redo some of those log piles in that little mini road there and bring it out to the main road that connects here. And this brown is a little tricky to see, but I hope you're able to kind of get the idea here. We might even do some stuff up here. I'm not too sure if we're going to add any roads or anything notable in this region other than just some trees and an expansion of the forest. So that, if we do add anything to, might come a little later. For now, the focus is definitely on the regions in which we'll probably have some farms and all of that kind of stuff going on. Speaking of the secondary roads, I'm thinking that what we'll probably do is we'll probably have a secondary road kind of swoosh up from there, one swoosh up from here, and it'll eventually meet into one main kind of secondary road that might go up north a little bit. This is kind of a tentative plan. Again, I don't know how far up I'm going to go up there, as we're not necessarily trying to turn this into a gigantic kind of settlement, but we're just trying to build up the outskirts a little bit and then have some of the neighboring roads done and good to go. But with all of that as a very general, very basic kind of idea as to where to start, I think we can start planning it out with the sand in game, and dot the grass and whatnot. Sand obviously being a block that sticks out quite a bit, and from there we can start actually implementing the roads, getting them built, and see what that leaves us with in terms of spacing and the terrain and all of that good stuff. So give me just a bit and I'll be back ready to plan out some of the roads in game. Okay, so here we are with another map. We were supposed to be getting sand, and I do plan on doing that in just a little bit, but it occurred to me that we do have a main road that swoops to the north of the city of Goldcrest here in the overall province of Maratea. And this is something that I didn't expect we would need to account for in the renovation of the city of Goldcrest until I remembered that the rivers as a whole, all across the entire continent, from the canon lore to the in-game versions, are very, very different. So if you see right here how the Bassator River that empties out down here on the southern coast, how it splits off at the city of Gildred, and one kind of branch of it shoots up towards Goldcrest, and the other will eventually make its way all the way up to the heart of Odelia up here. This river branches off and kind of goes off in two different directions, very, very far apart from one another in the actual canon lore and as per this map that I made. However, in game, right here is where it forks, and it is very close to the city. See, when I saw this fork right here initially while we were drawing the roads, I had this mistaken. I thought this was a different part of the river than it really is. And what this means is that that road that swooshes to the north of Goldcrest and then continues on towards the east with a village along the way, that is actually right here. We need to make that happen right here. That secondary road that I kind of tentatively planned with the brown line that you saw a second ago, that's actually going to have to be a golden line as one of our main roads that just squeezes through the start of Odelia here in the desert and the mountains here within Goldcrest. This all, of course, being a product of the fact that I cannot possibly have a completely one-to-one accurate recreation of the map of the continent as a whole, and not to scale either. The Minecraft world is on like a 1 to 52, 1 to 53 scale. So something like this ends up working a whole lot differently in-game, whereas the river splits here in the lore. In-game, the river kind of doesn't even come up through here. It's kind of over here more, kind of shoots up right under Goldcrest. It kind of splits right here, and then one kind of comes up here, trying to kind of figure out what it's trying to do in-game versus in the lore. It's a little difficult, and, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but we got to try our best to adapt it however we can. Because at the end of the day, while the Minecraft world isn't a perfect recreation, it's a fairly close one. It's about as close as we can get, and it's a lot of fun to try and recreate it to the best of our ability in survival nonetheless as well. But this road right here with the village of Gildan Run, upon it, and the town of Sansatine down the way a little bit more. This is something that's going to squeeze in a lot closer to the mountains right here. And while I don't plan on building the village or the town right now or anytime soon, we at least need to get the road ready and just kind of swoop it around the mountains so that if you're in Goldcrest, it appears as though the road just continues on off into the distance and all of that good stuff. But you can see right here some of the other roads, right? You can see the road that comes in from the east, and this one will kind of connect up to the temple. It goes across the bridge right at the kind of foot of the river here. I don't know, would you call that the foot of a river? I'm not too sure. But either way, you got the three main roads that bring you into Goldcrest. It's just this one we got to account for. So with that noted, so that you're not confused when we go and actually start planning and building out the roads, we'll have that figured out and we'll be good. Now, for real this time, I'm going to go get the sand and we'll start planning out these roads finally. All right, I've gone ahead and gotten all of the sand that we needed, and also gone about laying all of the little pieces out to plan out the roadways that we had marked just a little bit ago on the map. And as you can see off in the distance, I've got it going every which way over here, including that last minute change of the main road that goes up to the north. I've got it going up to about there, maybe a little further, just around kind of the edge of the mountain range right here, so that when we're in the city and when we're in most of these areas, we can still kind of see the road disappear off into the distance. And if that's not far enough, by the time we're looking at sight lines and everything at the very end of it, we'll always just expand it a little further. It won't hurt nobody. But here's the region that we were just looking at on the map right here. You can kind of see some of the details, some of the features and all of that kind of stuff. Now, one thing I did mention a little bit earlier is that I want to turn all of this into more of the consistent forest biome, because over here we are working with, or we're seeing a lot of this kind of sharp edge of a sudden biome transition into the savanna right here. And while most of Maratea is supposed to be sort of this savanna feel, I think we can definitely afford to bring this more green, lush, foresty feel all the way up to the side of the river, and that can kind of mark our endpoint. So that's one thing I'm going to have to go ahead and get worked out with World Edit and fix the biomes up and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll probably also go about removing any of the savanna trees out on this side of the river specifically, as we'll be replacing them with our own custom trees that we plan on building a little bit later on in the project as well. Over there, all the savanna trees are fine. We'll kind of have it feel more like a savanna on that side and what have you. Obviously, the Minecraft world's not going to be a perfect recreation. We're going to have some wonky bits like a sudden transition across the river into a completely different biome, but I guess that's just one of the things we got to live with. At the end of the day, I think it's okay, because this project ends up, I think, kind of outshining it a little bit, right? But anyway, I've gone ahead and taken care of all of that so that you guys don't have to watch me do that for, I don't even know how long it took, maybe 5-10 minutes, something like that. And now I can actually start replacing the roads, or I guess placing the roads in the first place. And I think we're going to do that right over here. I have this little bit of sand plotted out from the Aesthetic Temple right here, and this one climbs up that newly configured hill right here and starts to connect us right here. So I'll probably start on this area. I'll probably build it a little bit off into this direction as well. I'm not sure how far we'll go, but I'll build it a good little bit, and eventually it'll start to transition into more of a stone-based road that like a normal stone, gray, cobblestone sort of palette as it travels throughout the rest of the province as well, because we don't want the entirety of all of the roads in this province to be how they are in the city of Goldcrest, this brown palette. We're going to want to lighten them up a little bit so that when they're traveling across hundreds of blocks of wilderness, they stand out a lot with this light gray color, like in the mountains right here. Just as I've done over in Lefio here, if I go up the map right here, where we're building on stream with this dark palette instead of a stone palette, which would blend in with the snow really good. We use some dirt and gravel and coarse dirt and stuff like that to kind of make this work properly. So now when you're zoomed out really far and you're looking at the map and you're watching it sprawl hundreds of blocks, hundreds and even thousands of blocks, you can see the road clear as day, except for like right here. Obviously this was supposed to all be snow anyway. That's something I gotta fix biome wise, so eventually it'll all kind of work properly right there. Not supposed to have that big stripe of no snow, but you get the idea. Anyway, let's get to placing those roads right about now. And that is one entire section of the road done. That actually didn't take me as long as I was expecting it to, but here we have the lead up into the city of Goldcrest right here. I brought it right up to about this little kind of mound, I guess, this tiny little hill that shoots up, in hopes that getting it right up to about here would be plenty good enough for us to get the feel that the road just spans on off into the distance without having to build the rest of it quite yet. However, if that's not the case, we can always just add a little bit more to it. But we've got it all the way out here. We've done the big intersection right here where it goes straight for a while before crossing over the river and leading you to all of the fields and everything. And then obviously to the right, you have one of the entrances into the city of Goldcrest right here. This road winds all the way down until you eventually end up right in front of the Asisic Temple right here. And it kind of cuts through these piles of logs and whatnot, which right now kind of look out of place because we don't have any of the trees built up around here. But this will be a pretty foresty area once we're done. It's not going to be as wide open and, you know, not everything's going to be this visible. It'll definitely be kind of crowded amongst some trees, and there'll be some cool sight lines and whatnot to see by the time we're done with the renovation as a whole. But either way, we got that connection made. It continues to go on this way and kind of follows the crest of that hill that we terraformed at the start of the episode, and eventually slowly makes its way down and around until it's ready to cross over the river right here. Now, before I build the bridge, or I guess something to consider with the whole needing to build the bridge situation, is the need to re-terraform a lot of this. So in the last episode, or the one previous, I forget which one exactly it was, we did where I'm standing right now. We did this entire hill right here and got it flattened out and working much better. Now over here, it does need a little bit of work. I'm not going to be removing the hill because this hill right here is necessary. It fits the terrain and the surrounding areas. However, all of this stone right here, this is the first thing that's got to go, and we've got to try and do a little bit differently. I'm still trying to determine whether I want to kind of match this style right here with the grass, where it slowly rounds up into this big hill, or if I want to do a cliffside that overhangs the river a little bit. I'm not too sure which route we're going to go. Both can kind of work in their own right. I'm kind of leaning towards the hill idea just because it slowly, gradually makes its way all the way down here. If we have an overhang, it's only going to last a little bit before it's got to transition anyway. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with that. But I do need to make sure that we get this side of the river all detailed up. And another thing is over here where it starts to turn and angle off that way, I want to shave out a lot of this. And if we look at the map right here, you can see how it's got this big kink in the river. That is one of the biggest leftover signs of when I implemented the city into this world seed, as the original generated river did not look like this, to say the least, right? And so that is something that I want to kind of alter a little bit. We'll probably go from about where the bridge starts here, and we're going to shave off a little bit of it. We'll widen the river right here. It'll kind of accumulate a little before it continues on. And that might even be a little bit more work that we can do over here. As you can see, it was very hastily done. And it doesn't look all the best, the kind of slope up into the river here. So we might spend a little bit of time working on that as well. But this bridge is the biggest thing that I'm focused on right here. So at the very least, so that I can build the bridge, I'm going to try to get a little bit of this area terraformed down and to a spot that I think we can definitely work with and get a nice bridge implemented that'll really tie the roads together. Alright, so I have gone ahead and redone the entirety of this hill, or I guess most of it, pretty much the entirety, as it was all stone right here, all kinds of not very good and rushed together way back when I brought this build into the new world seed. And now I've replaced it all with dirt. I've got the shape a little bit better. I didn't want to spend all too much time on it, but I think this is definitely something that we can live with for sure, and something that definitely improves the feel of this side of the river that just comes into the town right over there. But not only did I do that, you might have already seen it, but I also went ahead and built the entirety of the bridge right here to connect our two roads. I figured I might as well just go ahead and do this real quick while I was doing the terrain as well before I brought it back with you guys. And yeah, you are going to hear some waves and some seagulls, and that is a part of the biome scuff. Turns out, on the map right here, turns out this little color right here, this kind of very light green right here, this is actually a warm ocean biome. So going back to what I had mentioned in a previous episode, the biomes in this world are all kinds of messed up because I generated this entire continent, all of this custom world in the Terraforged mod, but once I had all of the chunks loaded in game and you know, fully generated, I guess, I took the mod off so that I would be back in vanilla Minecraft and able to update the game whenever I wanted with any updates. So as a result of that, any biome that was labeled Terraforged, insert biome here, so in this case like Terraforged Savanna or Terraforged Plains kind of a thing, that got reset to the default whatever the seed wanted, whatever vanilla Minecraft based on the seed of this world says it should be, which apparently in this case is warm ocean biome. So we got some seagull noises with the Ambient Sound Mod over in this region, which is kind of funny. But other than that, I basically with the bridge tried to go for the original design of the kind of theme of Goldcrest, the style of architecture here, and I wanted to improve on it a little, so mix a little bit of the nostalgic feel with a little bit of an improvement as well. If we fly on over here, I have another very small bridge, and this was actually the only bridge that I had built here in the town, the only crossing over the river as of previously, and I basically wanted to use the same collection of blocks. So we have our oak logs, we have our lanterns, our cobblestone, our stone brick, our spruce wood, and it was pretty much just a mix of that to kind of make it work. This was obviously a bridge that I had built years and years and years ago in the first kind of you know, construction of the city of Goldcrest. And you know, while it's not the worst thing that's ever been done, I basically wanted to take this for everything that it is without adding any more or without taking anything away, and I wanted to try and bring that to the next level so that it still feels like it belongs here, but it also feels like it's something that I've built more recently, is something that I've come back to and definitely improved on as a builder when it comes to approaching this bridge and making it happen. So this is what we came up with. This is what I decided would look the best and really get the feel in here. I worked a lot with some like extra supports and whatnot, and a little bit down here as well, connecting some of the logs together. I really like the feel of kind of structural integrity, if you will, within anything I build. The more of it that I can get in terms of like support beams and pillars and all of that kind of stuff, the better, in my opinion. I think it just really works well. Another thing I did that you might have noticed is I really mixed up the kind of floor of the bridge, if you will, the walkway. I've kind of broken it up a little with trapdoors and whatnot. There's little gaps here and there. I've got some texturing with some spruce logs mixed in with the spruce slabs as well. And all of that just kind of adds to the sort of rickety feel, like it's a kind of aged bridge and it's kind of traveled a lot, so there's it's in a little bit of disrepair. It's not the worst thing out there, you're not going to fall through it, but it's definitely seen better days, right? I was kind of going for something like that instead of just a perfectly clean kind of slope going up over it. It just adds a little bit of character, right? And I think with every build we do, if we can find ways to add character, I think it just makes it all the better. But anyway, that full moon is up, and that's kind of scary, so let's go sleep real quick. All right, that is much better to see the sun coming over that hill. So from that point, from what we just finished over here on the hill and on the bridge right there, we are now able to fully turn our attention from the road on this side of the city over the river to this side of the city. And one thing that I also did in between the last clip and now is I redid the biomes over here. I went ahead and got World Edit going again, and while you can see some of the green, some of the shades of green kind of altering between like the ocean biomes and the forest biome here, I did get rid of pretty much all of the savanna biome that was on the right side of the river here on the eastern side, because that is where we're going to be building all of our crop fields, all of our farms, our farmhouses, all of that kind of stuff. The kind of outskirts of the city of Goldcrest, if you will kind of be over here, and so I wanted it to all be a nicer green, more of a foresty feel, because that is the feel of the city of Goldcrest. And obviously over here, this all being savanna is you know, lore accurate and everything. It's totally fine to be how it is. We just needed the surrounding areas, and especially the areas that we're working in, to kind of match a certain feel. Up here, I only brought the biome up to where I had brought the road. You can see the little dots of sand right here. This is kind of the rough plan for how far I'm going to be working up into the north around the mountains here. But again, if we've got this all built and the sight lines are in and everything, and it's just a very jarring, noticeable shift right here, even if we're like down in this region, then we'll expand it a little further. But the hope is that if you're on this road right here, or you're down in any of the houses or any of the fields or anything, and you look off into the distance to the north, you're not really going to notice this sudden transition. And it's something that we can work on later on in the future when I'm ready to build more of the kind of connecting roads between various cities and whatnot. We'll have one that swoops over the mountains and all of that good stuff, right? For now, our focus is here though, and more specifically, we've got to turn all of these dotted bits of sand that plans out the roadway into a proper roadway. But that in and of itself is a very, very tall task, because we've got quite a lot of the road planned out and everything. However, once we do get all of the roads built here, all of the connections made, all of the intersections, we've got the whole place laid out, we'll be able to then determine where we want to put fields and where we want to put little farmhouses and whatever else we might want to throw out here, whether it is farming related or not. It'll be a very kind of spread out sort of feel, very kind of outskirts sort of feel, with farmland and the occasional house and some scattered trees and whatnot. I do want to get rid of all of the acacia trees over here. We'll replace them with the occasional custom oak tree and stuff like that. But that is a very tall task, tall enough of a task that I think we're going to save that for the next episode, and we'll sit right here with that nice bridge we built in the background. Let me know what you guys think, by the way, about the expansion, how it's going, the plan that we have laid out right here. Let me know how you or what you think of the bridge, I should say. I hope it was a good mix of a nostalgic feel and also a kind of improvement on the Goldcrest style. That's really what I was going for, and what I will probably go for out here in the fields as well, with some of the houses and, you know, obviously the roadways we already redid, that kind of thing, right? Same thing with the houses, in the buildings, and just, you know, anything that might be a building, I guess. Houses, shops, I guess, doesn't matter. I'll take the same blocks out of it. I'll keep the same sort of style, but I'll see if there's any small improvements I can make along the way, just to make it that little bit better. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you're thinking, and if you're excited for the next one when we get the rest of these roads laid out and the rest of the outskirts planned, so that we can actually start building a bulk of it and get some cool fields going, some more houses going, all that good stuff. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for popping in and hanging out, and until then, have a good one.